The important thing is that my players, lo importante es que mis jugadores.
That's great.
That is not the laugh of a man who just heard something mildly amusing. That is not a polite chuckle. That is a man who was asked a completely serious question by a completely serious journalist and found the entire situation so funny that he temporarily lost the ability to function. He took his glasses off. He had to hold them, because if he kept them on his face, they were going to fall off anyway. That is Jurgen Klopp, and we need to talk about him. We need to.
Against Bayern, it was Alaba. He's a world-class player himself. They are not blind. And each player in the world is to defend. It's about how we use him, how we play him, how we move, and all that stuff. And today, obviously, Lindelof and Shaw together. I have to talk here about that game, but I'm not too much interested in that game anymore, because I'm already thinking about what can I do that we are really spot on Wednesday night.
Jose Mourinho walks into a press conference like he is about to testify at a trial that he definitely won. Pep Guardiola walks in like a professor who has already lost patience with the class. Sir Alex Ferguson walked in like a man who could end your career with a single eyebrow raise. Jurgen Klopp walks in like he just heard the best joke of his life in the car park and cannot wait to tell someone.
So they have made a lot of good decisions to be here, and we should not hope that they will make only wrong decisions tomorrow. So we have to be prepared for our best game, and that's what we try to do.
He has managed at the highest level of football for over 20 years. He has won the Premier League, the Champions League, multiple German league titles. He turned Borussia Dortmund from a club with serious financial problems into one of the most exciting teams in Europe. He then moved to Liverpool, a club that had not won the league in 30 years, and made them the best team on the planet. And in every single one of those 20 years, in every press conference, in every interview, he has been the exact same human being you just watched take his glasses off and lose control of his own laughter. No filter, no script, no management, just Jurgen. This is going to be a lot. October 2015, Liverpool Football Club has a problem. Their manager Brendan Rodgers has just been sacked. The club came very close to winning the league in 2014. Steven Gerrard slipped, Liverpool fell apart in the final weeks, and they have been in decline ever since. The owners need a new manager. They need someone who can rebuild the club from scratch. Someone who can make Liverpool exciting again. Someone who can connect with the fans. Someone who can handle the pressure of one of the biggest clubs in the world. They call Jurgen Klopp now. When a new manager arrives at a big football club, there is usually a process. There is a careful first press conference. There are diplomatic answers. There is a lot of I have spoken to the owners, and we all have the same vision, and I am delighted to be here, and I cannot wait to get started. It is very professional, very managed, very safe. Jurgen Klopp sat down. The first journalist asked him a question, and the very first thing he said was, "I'm the normal one." He literally said that. His first press conference at one of the biggest football clubs in the world, the whole world watching. And he started with a joke about Jose Mourinho. Not a subtle reference, not a nod and a wink, a direct, deliberate, lewd joke about the special one on day one.
Like all the people in this room feel, I think. It's not the perfect moment, of course, but
outstanding.
Before he had taken a single training session, the room erupted, the journalists laughed, and right there, in that moment, the entire press conference was completely disarmed. Nobody in that room was going to ask a difficult question now. Klopp had made them all laugh, and they hadn't even found their seats yet.
You love your football, you love the club, you love Liverpool, so I'm so convinced this is the right decision for you.
I thought I said that in the other, statement or interview or whatever we had. Now we look, Mo knows that he can play better than he did today. We know he can play. It's 2 weeks ago or whatever. When we play against Bournemouth, people played the stars from the sky.
This is his superpower. He does not control press conferences through fear, like Mourinho. He does not overwhelm them with tactical philosophy, like Guardiola. He just makes everyone laugh immediately. And then they love him. And then they can't be difficult. Because you cannot be difficult to someone you are laughing with. He is not the normal one. He is absolutely not. But the fact that he said he was, with that face, that grin, that completely unhinged energy, proved it immediately. Before we talk about what Klopp does to journalists, we need to talk about what he does to football. Because the press conference chaos does not exist in a vacuum. It exists because the man is genuinely, spectacularly, fascinatingly different. And to understand the man, you need to understand his football. Jurgen Klopp, land for a second. Every other football manager in the world uses football language to describe football. Jurgen Klopp used a music genre. He looked at his own team, at the pressing, the intensity, the noise, the chaos, the relentless energy. And he thought, yes, that is heavy metal. That is exactly what that is. And he was right. That is the extraordinary thing. It is not just a funny phrase. It is the most accurate description of how his teams play. Fast, aggressive, loud, completely overwhelming. And somewhere underneath all the chaos, a perfect structure that holds everything together. When Dortmund won back-to-back Bundesliga titles under Klopp, football journalists had to find new language to describe what they were watching. When Liverpool won the Champions League in 2019 and the Premier League in 2020, entire tactical analysis careers were built on trying to explain what Klopp was doing. He just called it heavy metal and moved on. Jurgen Klopp gave football a new language, and he did it in a press conference, with his hands, slightly too loudly.
The major blow on a day like this. So, and we on the other side, we were really uncomfortable to play. And
now, we need to talk about the glasses moment. If you are a Klopp fan, you already know what is coming. If you are not, strap in. Because this is the moment that defines him. Not a tactical masterpiece, not a famous quote about football philosophy, a press conference, a journalist, a question, and a man who could not, physiologically could not, keep it together. The context is important. Liverpool have just played a game. A journalist has asked a question. The question, by all accounts, is not particularly unusual. It is the kind of question that gets asked at press conferences all the time. A normal question. Klopp looks at the journalist, and something happens. Something short-circuits. Because what comes out of Jurgen Klopp next is not an answer. It is not even the beginning of an answer. It is a laugh. But not a normal laugh. A laugh that starts somewhere deep and just keeps going. A laugh that takes over his whole body. A laugh that forces him to remove his glasses because his face is physically moving too much to keep them on.
18 meters can be a goal as well. And from all the other finals, nothing really. It's that the finals were always different.
Look at the room. Look at the room. Every single journalist in there is laughing. Not because the answer was funny. There was no answer yet. They are laughing because Klopp is laughing. Because it is completely infectious. Because there is something about a 6'1" German football manager in a press conference, with his glasses off, unable to speak, absolutely gun at his own joke, that makes it completely impossible not to laugh with him. Jose Mourinho controls press conferences through intimidation. He makes journalists scared to ask the wrong question. Pep Guardiola controls press conferences by being the most knowledgeable person in the room, and everyone knows it. Klopp controls press conferences because everyone in the room has fallen slightly in love with him and they don't want him to stop talking. He is not difficult. He is not cold. He is not distant or intimidating or deliberately mysterious. He takes his glasses off and loses control of himself in front of 50 journalists and a live camera. And somehow this makes him more respected, not less. Name one other person on the planet who could do that. Here is something that takes most people a while to notice about Jurgen Klopp. He seems warm. He seems open. He seems like the kind of man who would never be difficult in a press conference because he is too busy being everyone's favorite person. He is absolutely capable of destroying a journalist. Not like Mourinho. Mourinho destroys journalists with surgical precision. Cold. Deliberate. He identifies the weakness in a question and removes the questioner's entire credibility in a single sentence. It is impressive, but slightly terrifying. Klopp destroys journalists while smiling, while laughing, while making them feel like he is on their side. And then you get home and you think about what he said, and you realize he just completely dismantled everything you asked and you thanked him for it. Did you catch that? He started with a laugh. He seemed like he was being self-deprecating, like he was being friendly and open. And then, buried inside what seemed like a relaxed answer, he made his point clearly, firmly, with no wiggle room. You want to talk about that now? 4 words, delivered with a smile. And what they mean is, I know exactly what you were trying to do. I know exactly the angle of this question. And I'm going to answer it in a way that makes it clear. I know, without making you feel attacked. Mourinho would have made that journalist feel 3 inches tall. Ferguson would have made them fear for their job. Klopp makes them feel like he respects them too much to let them ask a lazy question. The journalists who cover Klopp regularly will tell you the same thing. He is the most enjoyable press conference on the football calendar. He is also the most difficult to get a straight negative story from. Because he is always 2 steps ahead, and he makes you feel great about it. That is not warmth. That is a weapon. the warmest weapon in football. We have to talk about gegenpressing. We have to. Because gegenpressing is, alongside heavy metal football, the other phrase that Jurgen Klopp gave to the entire sport. And unlike heavy metal football, which most people can immediately picture, gegenpressing requires an explanation. And the explanation, every single time Klopp gives it, is extraordinary. Most tactical concepts in football are explained simply. Press high, drop into shape, play out from the back. Simple language. Klopp invented a German compound word and then had to explain it to English-speaking journalists for the next 15 years. Gegen means against. Press means press. Gegenpressing means when you lose the ball, you immediately press to win it back, right there, in that moment, before the opposition can organize, before they can breathe, before they have even fully registered that they have the ball. Simple idea, devastating in practice, and every single time Klopp explains it.
If the top team plays really defensive, that's not nice to play against. That's how it is. And now people can say, yeah, but Man City is doing better. Yeah, we don't compare ourselves with that, because we still have got the points our own way. There are different ways to be successful, and so far we were successful, and it's 100% true. And I get that a bit too many draws in the last couple of games.
Watch his face when he talks about gegenpressing. He is not explaining a tactic. He is describing something he loves. You can see it. The word itself, gegenpressing, comes out of his mouth like it is his favorite word in any language. He talks about the moment of losing the ball like other people talk about the moment they met their spouse, with genuine wonder. With this is the most important moment, and I cannot believe other people are not as excited about this moment as I am. Here is the extraordinary thing. When Klopp arrived in England, gegenpressing was relatively unknown outside Germany. Within what he is selling is football itself. June 1st, 2019. Liverpool had been to a Champions League final the year before against Real Madrid and lost. It was painful. The goalkeeper made errors. There were decisions that were hard to explain. Liverpool went home without the trophy. Klopp had now lost Essex finals. 6. Champions League, FA Cup, League Cup, Europa League. Multiple times. He was, completely fairly, being discussed as a manager who could not win the big ones. Liverpool beat Tottenham 2-0. They won the Champions League. And then Jurgen Klopp walked into a press conference. This is the thing about Klopp that makes him different from every other manager. He is not performing emotion. He never performs emotion. When Klopp is happy, genuinely, overwhelmingly happy, you see it, all of it, without a filter, without management, just a human being feeling something and making absolutely no attempt to hide it. Most managers win the Champions League and walk into a press conference composed. They give credit to the players. They thank the staff. They say it is a reward for everyone's hard work. And they mean it. But they say it through the professional mask. Klopp sat down and he was still overwhelmed. Right there, in front of everyone. The glasses went to his head. The hands went everywhere. At one point, he laughed at something. Nobody was sure what. And then he was emotional again. And then he laughed again. And then he was talking about the fans, and you could see him feeling it.
With Jordan being suspended for the weekend, does that guarantee him a start tomorrow night as well?
Is it the first press conference we two have together? And I speak about lineups in a press conference? Or...
Right there, in real time. A journalist asked a normal post-match question. Klopp looked at them. And I am paraphrasing slightly. I cannot believe you just asked me that. Look at what just happened. Look at where we are. And you want to talk about that? Not angry, not dismissive. Just genuinely confused that the world had not paused to take the moment in. Essex finals. And then the 7th. And then this. The journalist laughed. The room laughed. Klopp laughed. And then he answered the question. 6 finals. The man who could not win the big ones. And then he won it in the most Jurgen Klopp way possible, by feeling everything, in public, in front of everyone, and somehow making that feel like exactly the right thing to do. Here is the thing that most Klopp press conference compilations miss. They focus on the laughing, the glasses, the heavy metal, the warmth and the chaos and the joy. And that is all real. That is genuinely who he is. But there is another Klopp in press conferences, and that Klopp is worth watching too. Because Jurgen Klopp feels everything, not just the good. And when things are hard, when Liverpool lose important games, when players get injured, when results go wrong, he does not hide that either. He sits in the press conference and he answers, honestly, with a weight that makes you understand how much this all means to him. In a press conference, of course, that he feels responsible for everything. For the supporters who travel thousands of miles, for the city of Liverpool, for everyone who needs Liverpool to win because it matters to them in ways that go beyond football. Most managers say things like this as a general statement of accountability. Because you had just watched him laugh until his glasses fell off, and you knew, that the same person who felt that joy was now feeling this weight in exactly the same way. He does not have a professional mode and a private mode. He has one mode, and it is on full volume, all the time. For the journalists who covered Liverpool for 9 years, this press conference version of Klopp was a gift. Because it was always honest, always real. Whether he was laughing or struggling, you always knew exactly where you stood. That is rarer than it sounds. January 2024, Liverpool Football Club releases a statement. Jurgen Klopp is leaving at the end of the season. He had been at Liverpool for 9 years. 9 years of press conferences, 9 years of glasses, moments and gegenpressing explanations and heavy metal football and destroying journalists with warmth and accidentally making everyone in the room love him. 9 years of 2 of the greatest trophies in the game. 9 years of making Anfield feel, again, like a place where something impossible might happen at any moment. He called it an energy problem. He said he had given everything. He did not want to do a lesser job. He would rather leave at the top than continue when he could feel he was diminishing. And then he walked into a press conference. Look at the journalists. Half of them are struggling. This is a press conference room that has seen 9 years of this man. 9 years of the glasses coming off. 9 years of heavy metal football. 9 years of being called doubters to believers and meaning it. And now they are sitting there with their notepads, doing their jobs, asking their questions. And they are feeling it. Klopp, naturally, was the one holding it together. Because of course he was. He had made his peace with the decision before he announced it. He had processed everything. He sat down, clear-eyed, honest, and answered every single question with a directness that made the whole room feel like they were in a conversation with a friend, not a football manager leaving a press conference. One journalist asked him what he would miss most. He laughed, not the glasses laugh, a quieter one. And then he said the supporters. Just that. No elaboration. No 5-minute tactical breakdown of the relationship between a manager and a fan base. Just the supporters. 9 years. 2 titles that meant everything. And when asked what he would miss most, he said the people. That is the thing about Jurgen Klopp, that the press conference clips, the compilations, the heavy metal football quotes, none of them fully capture. The man genuinely loves the people around him. Not as a brand. Not as a PR strategy. Actually loves them. He sat in those press conferences for 9 years and he gave them the real version of himself, every time. And they gave him 9 years of questions. And sometimes those questions were difficult, and sometimes they were good, and sometimes they were the kind of question that makes a man take his glasses off and lose control of himself. He will miss them. You believe him. 9 years, 360 press conferences, 1 phrase about heavy metal. 1 invented German word that changed how the whole sport talks about football. 1 laugh that has been watched millions of times by people who weren't even asking a question. Jurgen Klopp did not destroy journalists the way Mourinho does. He did not freeze them out or outmaneuver them or make them feel small. He did something far more effective. He made them love him. He walked into every single press conference as himself, fully, completely, loudly himself. And he gave them a show. Not on purpose, just because he cannot be any other way. He took the glasses off. He laughed. He explained Gegenpressing with his hands. He said the most German version of English sentences you have ever heard. He turned his football philosophy into a music genre. He called himself the normal one before he had even unpacked his bags. And on the way out, 9 years later, with the supporters behind him and the trophies in the cabinet, he sat in one last press conference. And he was still him, completely. Heavy metal football. Doubters to believers. The normal one. He was not the normal one. He was never going to be the normal one. But the fact that he said it on day 1, with that face, said everything.